The public meeting for the North Attleboro Conservation Commission. The date is June 20th, 2023. The time is 6:31 p.m. Members present are Jessica Marino, Deb Cato, myself, Clay Hutchinson, Lindsay Dillon, Cliff Bassett, and Jill Miller. Let's see. Moving on to our agenda, we have a series of hearing and meeting items. And I believe, Shannon, the first three listed are slated to be continued.
Yes, because we haven't had the hearing on the tax issue that we talked about as far as the town bylaws, I'm going to recommend that we continue those out to the end of August, because that's when the town has set their arrangement for is mid-August. So we can push our hearing out until then to give the owner an opportunity to meet that obligation, and then we can act on the notices.
All right, so I will open each of these three individually, and we can continue them again individually. So the first hearing item is a continued notice of intent, NOI, for 159 Paul Lazat Drive, Forge Building Corporation, SC number 2430981. And I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for 159 Paul Lazat Drive, Forge Building Corp., SC number 2430981 to August 29th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. to hold a hearing in accordance with the Article 16 of the North Attleboro General Bylaws to consider denial or revocation of permits for failure to pay outstanding taxes.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? The second item is a continued notice of intent, NOI, for 22 Owen Dolan Road. Practice that one. Forge Building Corporation, SC number 2430982. I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for 22 Owen Dolan Road, Forge Building Corp., SC number 2430982 to August 29, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. to hold a hearing in accordance with Article 16 of the North Attleboro General Bylaws to consider denial or revocation of permits for failure to pay outstanding taxes.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? Third, we have a continued notice of intent, NOI, for 30 Owen Dolan Road, Forge Building Corporation, SC number 2430983. I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for 30 Owen Dolan Road, Forge Building Corp., SC number 2430983 to August 29th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. to hold a hearing in accordance with Article 16 of the North Attleboro General Bylaws to consider denial or revocation of permits for failure to pay outstanding taxes.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? All right, moving on, we have fourth up, continued notice of intent, NOI, for Town Street, Pondview Preserve, Sam Shinoy Green Acre Investments LLC, SC number 2430976. And is there somebody here to speak on behalf of this one?
Actually, do not see the applicant, so maybe we could take Mr. Sullivan or move on to the next item for continuance and then move on to Mr. Sullivan.
All right, we will table the Town Street Pondview Preserve for a little bit later down this meeting. I believe the next one's slated for continuance as well, so there's a continued abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, ANRAD, Linden Street, Diwali and Gregory Investments, LLC, SC number 2430980. And Shannon, my understanding is that this one had a response from the applicant that has yet to be reviewed by the peer reviewer.
Yes, we received a response last Thursday. Just wasn't enough time, so I did ask for the continuance, and they did agree to that.
Okay. So that would be July 11th.
July 11th, sorry, yep.
I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for Linden Street, ANRAD, Diwali and Gregory Investments, LLC, SC number 2430980, with consent to the applicant to July 11th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m.
So moved. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? All right. Moving on, our sixth hearing meeting item. That was pretty quick.
Show us.
Request for determination of applicability, RDA, for 335 North Washington Street, Robert Sullivan. Is there someone here to speak on behalf of that? Are you here for one of the RDAs? Yeah. Are you here for the 335 North Washington Street?
My hearing not that good.
Oh.
Are you here for 335 North Washington Street?
I'm here for tree, cut down a tree.
Yes.
Yeah, that's,
Thinking,
all right, we're going to try to speak very clearly and loudly. I know the fans are on. If we're loud, will you be able to hear us from the podium?
I won't be right there now.
No? All right, I'll try to yell, but let me just read into the record here. Just going to read the legal notice. In accordance with Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Mass General Laws, a public meeting will be held by the North Attleboro Conservation Commission on Tuesday, June 20th, 2023 at 6:30 PM in the public meeting room at 49 Whiting Street, North Attleboro, Mass. On the request for determination of applicability filed by Robert Sullivan for the property located at 335 North Washington Street, North Attleboro, Mass. The proposal is for the removal of a large tree on the property within the riverfront area. The application and plans can be found on the town website. So can you just introduce yourself for the record?
I hear what he said.
Can you introduce yourself for the record and then just describe what you're doing?
Basically cutting down a dead tree. That's all it's dead. We're just gonna cut it down and remove it.
And your name?
Huh?
Your name?
Bob Sullivan?
Bob Sullivan?
Okay, why don't I describe for the commission what's transpired? Do you want me to explain it for the commission? Okay, so I think a few of you have been out there. If you remember, we were out a few years ago with the prior owner to discuss some issues on the property before Mr. Sullivan purchased it. And there's a very large sycamore tree. And over the years, it became a safety issue because the limbs were falling
All the
off.
branches coming off.
And I explained to Mr. Sullivan that he would need a permit to remove that. Since that time, most of the limbs were cut off,
Yeah.
correct? Because they were falling. It was, and I can attest to the fact that it was a dangerous situation because the limbs were so large. You remember seeing that, Deb? So the limbs themselves have been removed. It's basically just a large trunk. I mean, the tree is this big in diameter. It's clear, I don't know, what would you say it is, like?
Big.
It's huge.
Big.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't put my arms around it if I tried. So very old tree. It's a shame. We were hoping to save it, but it did become a safety issue because of the health of the tree. So that's what the permit is for, is to basically remove the trunk. It'd probably be easier if I showed you pictures. But this is what's left of the tree. It basically just sprouts on the large trunk. There we go. Not the best lighting, but you can see this is
Yeah, that's it
the
right there.
trunk, and these are all just
The
new
vine, all the
sprouts.
vine growing up the tree.
And the vines, yeah. So, let me go back. So that's what's left of it. It was a extremely expansive, large tree, but like I said, all the limbs were cut.
It looks like it's still alive. Last time I looked at it, it was before leaf out,
Yeah.
so I didn't realize it was gonna leaf out as much as it did.
I wasn't expecting this, and again, the limbs were cut. I didn't have a chance to evaluate it or get a opinion from an arborist, so I don't know the health of the tree, to be honest with you. I can attest to the fact that limbs had fallen off, but the health of the tree, I don't know. So that's what's left, because it's so large, it's in the riverfront, the 10 Mile River, if you guys, this is the property right on North Washington at the corner. This is the cemetery and the Red Schoolhouse over here, so just to get you oriented, but the 10 Mile River flows right through the property. This is the 10 Mile River, and this is the building. Just a couple questions, because I was there today I go by there every day, but what are the buildings on the property, those metal buildings, and what are your plans for the property? Because, I mean, we're here to discuss the tree, but clearly there's some activity going on the property.
What the building for?
Yeah, those metal storage buildings?
It's material for the building, lighting, ceiling fan, stuff like that.
Like, what are these for?
Yeah, those, basically I got material, basically material for the building, and I do remodeling and stuff like that. So my material and stuff like that. And over here. So basically, for my personal use. There's no hazard waste, nothing like that.
And you're going to be remodeling the interior of the building?
Excuse me?
just inside the building? Yeah,
What about it?
Just remodeling
Yeah,
inside?
well, I gotta have some work done with it. I'm getting involved with a contractor, and they're gonna do the whole thing over for me. I have an electrician doing electrical over everything. That way I get it nice, you know. I want the place to look nice. That's why I want
Inside, inside. Are you doing it?
Inside and outside. I want the outside to look nice too. You know, I want to just clear it all up. And there's a lot of trees there that are pretty much dead, dying or dead. And they're cluttering the other good tree that's not growing correctly. A lot of trees not growing correctly in that area. And I got a note there from the tree guy saying that it's creating a problem with the other big tree.
But tonight, you're only asking for the one, because we went over
That's
that,
for the big
and
one
I
right now,
said,
to get that out,
Yeah.
down and out of the way, and then to clear the whole place up. And I want to put like, that area, I want to put a new loom down and grass it again. Make sure it's nice and neat.
And
And
those,
after the contractor done in the building, all that stuff gonna be gone,
that's gone.
yeah.
I don't think we're allowed to have temporary storage facilities, so I'll have to talk to the building department about that, but regardless, you know, anything you do out there, you can't cut down any tree, you can't
Right,
even,
all
you
right,
can't
just a
even
big one
plant
for now,
loom, you
right.
can't even plant
Right.
Grass.
put down loom and plant grass because it's in a flood zone. So anything you do back there has to be permitted by the commission.
Right.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
And we talked about the other trees, they're in the
Right, I know,
riverfront, you can't take them down,
Not-
yeah.
No, nothing yet, nothing yet. I have to come back for that.
Because I saw all these ones flagged back here. This is directly on the river, so those all have pink
Oh, yeah,
flags
yeah,
on
no tree,
them.
Yeah, I got those marked, but that, I changed
Yeah,
that.
can't, that's a no. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
okay. And this is the,
The reason why I picked those trees, because I got squirrels getting into the building. And I got to trap them every time and bring them down to Broad Street and get rid of them. I don't know if the same squirrel or what, but they come right back. They climb that tree to get into the building.
Well, that's where his house is.
And once they know where they are, and what,
Is this a residence or is this a business?
It's a business.
Okay.
It was going to be like a bar?
have you seen that building before? It's 100% better than
used
what
to
it
be,
was.
it used to be a bar, the North End Club.
The guy was
I
going
don't
to
know if you
renovate it
remember
and
it.
make it a better bar or whatever, and then he decided not to. Yeah.
But you're in the process of going to zoning and working out what's going to happen as far as use.
Yep.
Obviously, our concern is the outside. Now, this area here, when we had gone out a few years ago, we had asked the prior owner to put in this stone trench to basically, you know, try to catch and filter some of this runoff
All that, yeah.
before going into the river and prevent erosion. This has never, you know, it's not being maintained clearly, so there is an O&M plan on this that we had them do prior to, so this area needs to be maintained
Well, it's not easy
to
for
work
me-
effectively.
Not easy for me to mow that. I didn't do all the rocks and all that stuff, but
Yeah,
it's not
this
easy
is-
to mow that because it can trip and fall. And my balance not that good.
No, well, you
So,
can do
yeah.
it by hand.
Huh?
You can do it by hand.
Or a weed whacker.
So
Yeah, I
it's a
wouldn't
little hard.
No.
So for the purpose of this application, it looks like the request is limited to the one tree. We saw the photo of it. It's mostly
It's dead enough. It's
sucker
pretty
sprouts.
Yeah.
I think at this point, we've made it clear that future work and the future of the property, you should come back before us for any new work with Shannon about identifying the scope and how to best go about coming back to us for the future work. But I will ask the other members now how they feel about the one tree today. And I'll start down here with you, Jessica.
I don't have any comments or questions.
Okay, Deb?
I don't have any questions. I think though that the tree is re-sprouting, but at the base, that's not part of the tree, right? That's like
That's just
vines and,
yeah, growing up, yeah.
and they wouldn't, does the arborist say whether or not that tree is damaged? That's towards the back and the left of the building. It's not where like the parking lot would be, right? Or is that?
It's in that
It is-
gravel
in the middle.
parking
It is
area.
the yeah, it's in the
It's
back of the
gravel,
gravel,
yeah.
in the back of,
Yes,
yeah.
that's
Yeah, I remember seeing it, I remember,
that tree. So I can read the
Yeah,
arborist
yeah,
review on
please
that
do
tree.
that, yeah.
The arborist states, "There is a large sycamore butt log in the parking lot to the left of the building. There is nothing left to the tree but some sucker growth. The tree is situated on a raised portion of the ground and has the root system, as the root system decays, it will become a safety hazard." So that's all that was said about it, but according to the arborist opinion, it's non-viable sucker
Yeah.
growth, it seems.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you. Lindsay?
No issues.
Cliff?
I guess just commenting, I agree with what the arborist stated in that there's not much viable potential in that tree. I mean, it's just going to continue that sucker growth. It's never going to really be a healthy tree. It's going to, prevent, like they said, potentially decay. But I lived down the road from it, and I remember when it was a full crown years ago, and the crown spread over the river. So I think, in taking down the tree, we do have to consider that the root system did extend probably right to where that retaining wall holds in, the 10 mile, and potentially to where the other sucker grow, or the other Norway maples are growing along the cemetery and the back line. And so taking down this tree is going to affect how all those other trees in the riverfront grow, because it was pretty much the dominant tree. So I think we have to consider that as, and what kind of remediative action we take for taking down that tree, what it's going to do to the rest.
It's not going to be. Are you planning on leaving the stump?
I'm gonna have everything removed, the
You-
stump too. The tree is dead, completely dead. What's growing on it now is the growth of the vine and all that stuff on the tree. And I've been told it's hollow out, it's pretty much hollow
Yeah.
because it get eaten away by the bug. So unfortunately, nobody took care of it.
Shannon, do you have this figure handy, just the site, the aerial?
Ariel, yes. Let me pull up, thought I had it up. I'll have to go back and pull it up.
I think they shouldn't. Too much
Destroy the ground.
disturbance. Yeah.
Oh, there it is, okay.
Too much disturbance near the river. I don't mind.
The crown is
I'm not even sure.
So this is 21, it's pretty much, it's still there, obviously. I could pull up a more recent one, it would just take me a few minutes. You want me to do that, or?
2019.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was most interested in I have the one sheet in front of us, but I think if we can see the proximity of where the tree is on the site to the river and to the other things around, it kind of gives us a,
Right, and this one might be,
Better
let me
idea.
pull up a clearer one. 2008 is always clearer.
That's interesting.
So, older picture, but this is the tree and this is the river.
so Jill, with your concerns about it, with the whole root system eventually degrading, are your concerns about stabilization of the site, or?
I think so, because that portion of the river is a curve, it turns southward, and a year ago when we had that really big flood, it was almost breaching the walls. So I know there's definitely, when we have the high water flow in that system, it really constricts in that corner, and so if it's not stabilized as that root system does decay, it's gonna create like a negative pressure behind that wall, so the wall might have the potential of failing. So I would be concerned about just the stability of that. That tree's been there for probably, 80 years maybe? More than that.
Probably, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
So
I'd say a couple hundred.
the question is what's going
Yeah.
to happen once it's down, it's not holding it back.
So what are you saying as far as the roots go? That the decaying might cause the issue of the roots,
I
or
would-
not, or removing them? Or, I guess I'm confused as to what.
Yeah, I think it just needs to be evaluated if it's removed. If it's, if the stump is ground and then it's just filled with soil there or earth, that might be okay if it's cut flush or kept as a stump. That might be okay too. It's a question of what other activities happen on that site as it, if it's going to be maintained as parking. Right now it's gravel. I think before it was lawn at some point. But if it's being used for parking, the decaying might sink that ground area. But if it's resawed as lawn, that might be okay. The other trees might grow in, but if it's become less pervious, then it might, I would say, I would be concerned about that. If it would turn into a more impervious surface there, it's just gonna create like a hollow below it as it decays.
It's not impervious surface right now, though, it's just gravel, right?
It's gravel.
Yeah.
I mean, hard packed,
Yeah.
but still gravel, yeah.
Well, do you think that, we know that there's plans for something to happen on this lot, so we're very likely to see some kind of application for us, either from this applicant or depending on how the property moves forward. I imagine that it's probably not gonna stay indefinitely in this state. In your opinion, do you think that it's something that we could address as we're
As new things are
considering
proposed.
the future use of the site and getting a more, I guess, comprehensive review of how best to manage that?
Yes, yeah, I think, I would be hesitant to not have that area that it's removed from. I think it should be sod over with grass in the meantime, even though the rest of the lot is gravel and there might be the temptation to extend parking onto where the tree was. I think that would be, we'd have to really consider the impacts of that if it was extended, so kind of remediating that area.
So what if, and you're planning, or would you be open to just either leaving the stump or having the stump just ground flush to the ground and not digging out the whole trunk system? Would you be open to something like that?
On the ground, yeah.
Like just having it,
Yeah.
so if we required it to be cut flush, the stump ground, and then just some kind of stabilization material that doesn't change the grade, just matching the current grades, that way we're not triggering flood zone for the area, then at least we'll have some temporary stabilization until, again, something else is decided and
So we
reviewed.
see what's gonna happen with that, yeah, I think that would be.
Do any other commission members have thoughts on that?
I just think the less disturbance, the best. The better. Like, the less disturbance that occurs in the ground, so I wouldn't really be thrilled with grinding it too much. Maybe just cutting it flush at the most. Shannon, do you have any thoughts?
I'm just thinking, cutting it flush, I mean, the size of it alone is, I mean, what you're left with, I don't know what any future plans are, but I think grinding it down, yeah. The problem is when you start removing the root system, you're gonna create problems with the river and the wall and the integrity of that wall.
There won't be no
So the
problem.
commission just wants you to cut it flush or grind it and leave it and not disturb any
Shouldn't be
additional.
problem, but the tree guy said there'd be no problem taking the trunk, the stump out at all. Even with the root, wouldn't be any problem.
I think what we prefer to see at this point is to have it cut flush and leave the stump flush on the ground. And as you come before us for the future work, then we can address it at that time with a more comprehensive review of the site.
I was thinking, again, from what his knowledge, because he has, the tree guy says it shouldn't be a problem at all. I mean,
But he's looking at it from his point of view, the tree, what he has to do. We're looking at this from the ecological point of view, or how we're going to impact the river in the ecosystem around there. And we're trying to avoid as much disturbance as we can. That's,
But if the roots are already rotted,
I understand what she said.
like they're already
the
dead,
roots aren't rotted yet.
Why-
The
do you-
sucker growth
what
is
is-
indicating they're still.
But you can't,
Tree gotta come down no matter what. I mean, the tree
No,
gotta
they're
come
not
down.
saying don't remove the tree. They're just saying leave the root system alone. Don't touch the root system and just cut the tree
Leave it on the
flush.
ground.
Yeah, or grind it. Is
For now,
that?
yeah, I mean, it'll rot away eventually anyway.
yeah, but for now, do that. And
Yeah.
then when you're talking about putting down
I know
like
what you're
the
saying, yeah.
sod,
Yeah.
then we'll see if that's gonna work.
Right, okay,
Yeah,
that's
so
fine for now, yeah.
I think for the purpose of today, allowing you to cut it flush removes the safety concern about having the stump up,
All right,
but alleviates our immediate concern about stability of the site removing the root system. So,
You take one step at a time.
exactly. Any other questions or comments from the commission members?
My only other comment was, I mean, it is a probably 200-year-old sycamore that was, we don't know if it was healthy, so it would be nice to see some replacement. That tree will never be replaced, obviously. And I was actually extremely sad to see it
Yeah.
cut. It's the first thing I see every day when I drive in here, so,
That was
I don't know how
probably
you
one of the
replace
biggest
that, but-
sycamores in New England.
huh?
That was probably one of the biggest sycamores in New England.
Yeah, it had a lot of value, so,
You know, but trees do have a lifespan, so maybe because it was so old.
yeah,
Oh, absolutely. It was on its last leg, there's no doubt about it. but-
yeah. I just want to acknowledge that it was a significant tree.
Yeah,
And that shouldn't be taken
beautiful.
lightly.
Yeah.
I think it's something that we should consider, again, under review of any future plans. I think it's hard to, I think my priority personally is to have us see that operation and maintenance plan followed on the swale more immediately. And then addressing more comprehensively additional plantings, especially if there's more trees to come down, but that'll give us a better idea of where things can be best placed to not create a taking of the lot. We don't want to have something replanted right in the center of what was otherwise a parking area, but something that can be,
That's gonna benefit the riverfront area.
exactly.
Shannon, did historical have any comments on it?
No, not that I know of. No.
So I will open it, I think, at this time to see if there's anybody from the public with any comments or questions on this one. Seeing nobody jumping. Is that everything, Shannon? So in that case, it sounds to me like cutting flush to the ground, and future considerations of plantings with future plans coming before us following of the operation and maintenance of the swale, or of the, I guess, bank, the gravelled area. With that, I will entertain a motion to issue a negative number 3 determination of applicability for removal of the tree with the condition that the tree is cut no further than flush with the ground and left in place, the stump left in place, and that the armored bank area is brought back up to compliance with the operation and maintenance plan.
Do you have access to the operation and maintenance plan? Have you seen it?
Try what? I can hear.
I'll make sure he has it.
Okay.
It's a maintenance plan for that
Did I make it?
swale.
Yeah.
I can make sure you have a copy of that.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before we move on, I will circle back to the continued notice of intent, NOI for Town Street, Pondview Preserves, Sam Chenoy, Green Acre Investments LLC, SC number 2430976. And if you could introduce yourself for the record?
Good evening, I'm Jim Pavlik with Outback Engineering. And Sam Shonai is with me also for Green Acres Investment.
You see an excavator in that property?
So I believe with this one, we've gone through a series of peer review back and forth.
You see an excavator?
I think the last peer review letter that was from Beals and Thomas had to do with, there was a lot of things that had been complied. I think the outstanding comments related to the status of the planning board waivers for road width and getting some kind of certification or just citation that was pursued to meet the limited status. There was some details, I believe, added to the plan for the outlet structures of the stormwater infrastructure. And I believe the last letter from Beals and Thomas also addressed submission of SWIP documents or a SWIP application with, as part of our special conditions. I believe you also submitted a letter in response to that, just updating that you have added the details for the outlet structure. I believe that Shannon has talked to the planning board, as well as it's been indicated that documentation is on the way, that those waivers have been sought after for the, pretty much the minimum allowable road width. Was there anything else that you wanted to address?
No, I think you pretty much summarized it. We submitted a letter last week, pretty much summarizing what you indicated. We met with the planning board last week, and they approved the plans that we submitted last week. So the planning board did grant the waivers on the road width to reduce the pavement and shoulders and the work within the riverfront area. So that was all
Okay.
approved. So we're waiting on that approval document, but it's pretty much as it's been outlined in the plans.
Okay. Shannon, do you have anything else to add, or anything that I missed in that recap?
No, I think you covered it. This submittal, the revisions were very minor, but I did send it to B&T just for a final closeout. But I think at this point, they're minor enough where the commission can probably comfortably close. I don't know if you wanted to circle back to the open space issue, if you had any other thoughts on that, or you want to wait until a later date for them to discuss that, or? Oh, sorry.
Well, I guess we could discuss it a little bit tonight if you're open to that. So I believe it's the planning board's perception that that open space is likely going to have to be maintained by a homeowners association. They're requiring a homeowners association to be set up. And from past experience, they're indicating that it's unlikely that town council would grant the open space to be transferred to the Conservation Commission. That's what they're telling me. So that's it's up in the air. How that actually shakes out. It's not anything that we can predict at this point until, we're ready to, until the road gets built and the open space could be potentially deeded out. So I think that's...
So they haven't required you to implement one or the other. They've just made a suggestion, or what is their position on the open space?
I believe it's that it would be maintained by the developer until such time that the homes are built and the homeowners association is established. It would then be transferred to the homeowners association, and I suppose the other option would be if the Conservation Commission was amenable to receiving it, then that's something we'd have to work out with the planning board. So I don't think that the planning board is saying it has to be one way or the other.
Yeah, and I don't know if they can. I was just asking.
No,
Okay.
I think it's their perception that it's unlikely town council would.
Well, yeah, that's not really up to them, but if you did go that route with the HOA, you would really have to do a CR. There's no other way to guarantee that stays open space. So if you did a CR, which is what we've had several other subdivisions do, it would stay with the HOA, but we would be the grantee. So we would still have some authority and oversight, but we wouldn't own it. And that ensures it remains open space,
What if it-
as intended.
What if it was just a deed restriction, that there could be no further
That's just not
development?
as strong, yeah. We've had other subdivisions that say they're gonna leave the open space, and now they're coming in to develop it, because it was never protected by a CR or given to the commission. So that would be my recommendation, is one or the other. Either you offer it to the commission and they can take a vote, not necessarily tonight, or you go the HOA route, but with a CR. And you don't have to decide this tonight, I'm just kind of, since we're discussing,
Hi, my name is Sam Shonai. My preference would be to give it to the commission. That way, it's completely on your side, and we can deal with the other minor things that they want us to do with regards to the HOA, which is really the, what is it called
Maintenance
now?
of
The
the
maintenance
median
of the median island, which it's really very minor. But if we have to go through the route of the CR and creating more work to get it done, why don't we just give it to you? And we're done with it. We don't have any plan to develop it in any way, shape, or form.
So I'm not sure what the mechanism would be to, do you guys, would you have to vote to accept
They'd
it?
have to agree to be amenable to accepting it, and then, yes, town council would have to approve that, but it's based on their recommendation.
Right.
And if the commission, unless there's a strong reason not to, if the commission wants a property, 99.9% of the time,
They're
town
gonna get it.
council will.
Right.
But it has to make sense for the commission as well. And we don't normally take, lots and subdivisions, because when conservation has open space, it's for the entire town. It's for the inhabitants of the
Right,
town.
right.
And when people live in these small subdivisions, they think it's theirs. And they don't want to see other people coming in, so it's hard to make it a public amenity. And it's not contiguous really to anything else. We do own property across the street, but that's more of it's a dam and a pond in a small residential area, so it's, it's not necessarily providing a contiguous open space for public enjoyment, so.
Well, I mean, if you really look at it, there's not any houses in that area at all. So, yes, most of the houses really kind of start right from about quarter in, and then it moves forward. So anyone that wants to use this space, I don't think as long as it's known to belong to the town, I don't think anyone would say, no, you can't use it. It should be of use to everybody in the town, as far as I'm concerned. They should be able to have functions there if they want to, have their kids go there and play. That's what I at least assume what the open space is going to be used for. And it should be useful for everyone. So, again, I'm ready to hand it over to you.
So,
As long as it doesn't stop us from going through the development that we need to do as well.
Shannon, is this something currently under review by town council, by our,
Not yet.
have we don't have any, I guess, timeline on getting an opinion on how
mean,
we should act
Town
on
council or legal council?
legal counsel, sorry, counsel.
No, they wouldn't review it unless we asked. Yeah,
Okay.
But we haven't gotten to that stage. But they would only get involved if you did agree to take it, town council agreed, then they would do the deed transaction and the title work and all that.
Right, but are they likely to, or the town manager's office or the town council, I guess if we're weighing the inputs about whether this board should be considering outright accepting it or pursuing a CR, has review happened or been initiated with any interested town-related,
No, it hasn't gotten to that point yet, because I wasn't sure your thoughts, your feelings on it.
and is it something that we could potentially get for the next meeting? An opinion on that? Do we think
I mean,
that
normally I
that's-
wouldn't go to them first, to be honest,
Okay,
because I like to leave it up to the commission.
right.
And the only property I had a problem with was Ryder Circle. That's the only one, and that we ultimately got it. So normally, I think it should be up to the commission. If you feel strongly and you want the property, then you vote to accept it, contingent upon the authorization of town council. And if they agree, they agree. If they don't, then they don't.
Personally, I think we got a little bit of time here. It's
Yeah.
not something we have to do right away.
Right,
If he's
exactly.
gonna be getting his permits, he's not even gonna start excavating and groundbreaking for a little while.
There's time, yeah, you don't have to
So
sign
there's
anything.
time, and I think we can go back and forth a little bit here and there with the owner and work back and forth one way or the other.
Yes.
But I do believe that an HOA is not the way to go, because we've seen it in other developments in town.
I'm sorry,
People
what'd you
start-
say?
HOA.
Homeowners association is not the way to go, because they dump their grasses on it, they dump, so I don't think that's the way to go, personally.
But they can do that anyway, and it's more likely in these neighborhoods, and you know what I
Right.
mean? Either way, they don't, to
Right.
them, whether it's a CR, an HOA, or conservation, they're gonna dump their lawn anyway, their
Right.
clippings,
So my preference would be if he's thinking about granting it to the town, then my personal would be to accept the grant, the piece of property to the town, and it becomes part of the property across the street. It is a feeder system for the pond, for the dam, so it's, that's my own personal preference, but I think we have a little bit of time.
Yeah,
do.
we're right. Shannon, the open space is just where it says open space there, that part of the property right there,
Yes, this
correct?
whole
Yeah.
part.
Right.
And that part of the property, I know you have to build, that's a retention basin, right? Or detention basin in the middle, that, yeah. So are you going to not disturb that during the development of your houses and roads? Like, that's all woods right now, if I remember correctly, correct?
Yes.
It's
It'll all be protected, yeah, the
Is
limit
it,
of work
and you're
is-
not gonna like cut that area?
We have a limited clearing area there. If you see, you'll see some lines, some like ziggy lines there. That's our limited clearing area, that we won't
Okay.
clear anything beyond that.
Okay. That makes it better habitat. Just one-
So, yeah, and we can obviously discuss this outside of this public hearing because it's a separate issue. We did that with other projects. We can add it as an agenda item on its own as a potential land acquisition. So you don't have to decide associated with this order. So, that shouldn't preclude you from doing whatever you're gonna do tonight. And then we can talk about it later because it is a separate issue.
But I think that's probably pretty prudent, is to circle back to the open space issue. Now that we're introduced, we're caught up to it, we can kind of reflect on some of that, and as we form our individual opinions, we can circle back and meet as a board again to discuss how we feel best to move forward with that. For the permit being requested now, for the development, I guess I only have one outstanding concern, and it kind of does relate to having Beals and Thomas, whether they review your last letter or not. I know you added the plan details for the outlet structure to the stormwater basin, that they had suggested there might be inadequate discharge and that it could create a negative pressure, I think they said. And I was just wondering, and I guess I'm posing this more to Shannon and the board, do we feel adequate that has been addressed without Beals and Thomas seeing and reviewing kind of that final detail added? And I'll let you speak to that initially if you'd like.
Sure, I could go through the detail change that we made. It's on page 15. Shows the detail for the infiltration basin.
Tell me when, because I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah, I know, I'm struggling to see it too.
Does anyone see the page numbers?
Keep going, yeah, it's the second to last page, one more. There it is. The upper left, if you can zoom up on that.
This one here?
Yeah,
me get
the
out of
upper
this,
left,
Get out of that. I'll zoom in a little bit.
keep going. There we go. So, to the right side is the berm and the outlet control structure head wall. And then to the left of that, I didn't bring my pointer either.
Not the best.
We have the stone trench detail. So that's originally that stone trench was extending all the way to the head wall. In my opinion, it wouldn't affect anything regarding the outlet structure, but we pulled the trench back, so it's a crushed stone trench that will promote infiltration. And we pulled it back away from the wall about 20 feet on the plan view. And you could see that on sheet 7, if you want to go to that sheet, Shannon.
Because what was the purpose of pulling it back? What's your intent?
The comment had to do, he was concerned if there was any intention for that stone trench to promote flow through the wall, and that was not the case. It's just that, so in any event, we pulled it back. So if you zoom in up on the front basin right there, yeah. So that stone trench detail is shown. They are 3 foot wide by 20 foot long by 12-inch deep crushed stone wick. So it's nowhere near the outlet control structure. And again, it's just something that'll promote infiltration rather than having a loam and seed bottom.
You could always, either way, we're going to have another meeting to issue anything, because we have 21 days to do that, and we're not ready to do that tonight, but you could always close it contingent upon receipt of Beals and Thomas's final approval. And if something did come up, you are allowed to reopen a public hearing. I did confirm that in a workshop I attended recently, if information were to come up. So either way, we'll have another chance to deliberate on this one when you vote to issue the order. So it's up to you if you want to close it contingent or continue it, and then we can do everything at the next meeting. It's whatever you're more comfortable with.
I personally, that does initially satisfy my concern. Rereading through the comment, it was about the trenching going all the way up to the head wall, as he said, creating a flow, and Beals and Thomas identified it as a hydraulic pressure at the outlet wall and under the berm of the basin. So I think pulling it back 20 feet probably does satisfy that. However, I personally would be more comfortable. It sounds like we're where we need to be, assuming that Beals and Thomas feels also that is the adequate change. So I think that it'd be prudent to continue just once more with the idea that there's ideally no surprises, nothing to come, and that we'll be hopefully issuing the same night, since the order's not prepared, so you won't be getting the order of conditions until we move on it next meeting anyway. So just as a point of housekeeping, making sure our records are straight, I think continuing to the next meeting and then closing and issuing in the same meeting, again, pending any surprises from the Beals and Thomas review, but you'll get a copy of that as well, and you'll know ahead of time. So if everything looks good, if Beals and Thomas agrees with that, then I would even say that you wouldn't even have to make the trip out if you didn't want to. You're certainly more than welcome to. I would never bar you, but if that's amenable to you, I think that's my preference if the commission agrees.
And the possibility might have some more information on the open space at that point.
Yeah.
Sure, I don't think we have a problem with
Kind
that.
of kills two birds with one stone.
Do you typically issue a draft order of conditions that we can look at ahead of the
If
next meeting?
requested, yeah, I can share the specials with you.
Yeah, we might just like to have a view of that. I don't expect that there'd be anything too outrageous, but
I think you're more than welcome to request that. I do like to just make sure that as it gets circulated to us, if there's something circulated ahead of the meeting, it's always, I just don't want to put any undue pressure on our staff, so I'm not going to make any promises. It sounds like Shannon is amenable to circulating whatever's available ahead of the meeting, but again, I just want to kind of draw a line in the sand and say, if it's not available, then unfortunately it's not available. Just there's other permitting pressures in office and other things going on. So we'll certainly let you know. And I think that based on the conversations that we've had, I think for the special conditioning, it sounds like the open space is probably not tied into the special conditions, will be done separately. The SWIP is a big one that we're probably going to special condition in, and assuming the basin is good, it sounds like we might not need a special condition to require anything to be done with the outlet structure. And that's what I had written down kind of initially tonight for special conditioning, so
Okay.
I wouldn't expect any other big surprises from that either, but again, you're more than welcome to hopefully get a draft and attend the next meeting if you so choose, so.
okay, that seems very fair. All right,
Any other questions or comments from the commission? I'll see if there's anybody in the public that wishes to speak. I'm guessing not on this one. Shannon, anything else for tonight?
All set.
With that, I will, what do we decide, July 11th is the next meeting?
6:30, yep.
I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for Pondview Preserve, Town Street, Sam Chenoy, Green Acres Investments, SE number 2430976, with the consent of the applicant, to July 11th, 2023 at 6:30 PM.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstaining? Thank you very much.
thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a good
Sam's
night.
gonna drop off the plans tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Moving on, I believe that's it for our hearing and meeting items. I'm actually going to jump now to our other business section because it looks like we have probably just one more matter with people in the audience, I'm guessing, related to the Eagle Scout presentation. Keith Wilfert for the Martin Conservation Area. So if, Keith, if you're here, if you could just step up to the podium so we can get you on the mic. I believe Shannon's probably going to pull up materials if there's any digital. And if you just introduce yourself before beginning, and then I'll let you take it away.
My name is Keith Wolfert, and I have some papers to pass out to everyone, actually.
Excellent. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. I was gonna ask, so you're very prepared.
Yeah, this one isn't in color, but
That's okay. Thank you.
so my plan for the Martin Conservation Area is to construct a bridge on a new trail that's being made. I'm not sure if it's cleared out yet. Last time I was there, it was only tagged and partially cleared out. But the main issue is at the start of the trail, there is a stream, and it's a pretty big stream, and there's no way over that stream, so it needs a bridge. And then right after that stream, it's at a corner. You can see in the pictures, it comes out at a corner of the trail. There's a muddy spot, and that's just not going to be good if the bridge just ends right at the muddy spot. So I was going to have the bridge go out and then take the left turn and then extend over that muddy area, so that way it would end on dry ground and no one would be sinking into the mud. And then the other project is a message board to hold a map of all the trails and just other messages if needed. I wasn't thinking anything too crazy, just a simple 2x3 box that would be able to hold all the information.
So this, I'll start with the message board and we'll work our way back, I guess. This message board, what kind of material were you envisioning as your surface to be, affixing plans and stuff?
I was just gonna make the box out of pressure-treated wood and then have it's either plexiglass or acrylic on the outside, so that way you can actually see through it. And then on the inside, I was gonna put a cork board, so that way you can pin stuff to it and anything else.
Perfect, so it'd be protected from the weather, but
Yeah,
also you'd be able
weatherproof, and
to-
you can just put stuff in it.
And for the, so the bridge, this kind of boardwalk structure,
Yeah.
can you walk me through just, I guess, some of the architecture of it? I'm guessing you're gonna have, it looks like, deck boarding going across.
Yeah. So I tried to follow as best as I could the ADA requirements, and all I could find, I listed all of them. The main idea is as you approach that stream, a couple feet back, it'll be a ramp that'll go up, and then it'll go right over that stream, and then it'll have a little bit of like a turn, and then it'll go back down, and then at the end of that walk, it'll have another just ramp down. But during that middle turn area, it's specified that it needs to have a diameter of 60 inches for any wheelchair to make any turn. So that's why it has to extend with that extra board to support it.
And do you know if there was any requirements from the ADA
On handrails?
specifications for how far apart or close together the boards themselves have to be to each other?
I couldn't find anything on that because it was mostly just for sidewalks and that was just cement. But I was planning on having it 1 inch, if less than that. That way it gives a good amount of spacing, but it also doesn't clog it up because leaves, it's out in the forest, leaves and other sticks can just get stuck in between those spaces. So you want to make it wide enough. That way things can still fall through.
And so you're hoping that water and such will still be able to
Yeah.
drain through it? You don't,
Yep.
you won't need like weep holes along the sides or
Yep.
anything? And is there Is there any kind of lip along the edges?
Yeah, I was planning on having just like a little inch barrier, so that way if anyone, like, any wheelchair starts to go to the edge or you're just walking, you'll feel it and then stop.
If any other commission members have questions or comments, please feel free. I can go down the line if you'd like, but
Have you gone into consideration of trying to find somebody to donate the material for you?
I have a friend in my troop, but his dad is actually leaving his job, so he's not able to donate anything.
I saw you had everything marked down from Lowe's, so it's just,
Yeah, Lowe's, I live right nearby, and also they have a helpful thing called the contractor's yard, I believe it's called, where you can show them your list of materials and everything, and they will work to try to lower that cost for you and try to get sort of a bidding of cheaper.
I'll make just a suggestion for you. I mean, possibly your dad could bring you down, Rehoboth building in over in Rehoboth on 118. If you go in and see Butch and tell him that you're doing a project for the
Eagle?
scouts.
Yep.
It's a possibility he could have some composite materials that are set aside, that's a discontinued item or something that
Yeah.
he likes to, if somebody comes in and says, hey, I got this project going on for the town, he throws it out, and a lot of times he'll donate it or at his cost. So it is well worth the shot to save yourself a little bit of money.
What was
on
the
it.
place called?
Rehoboth Building and Supply. It's right on 118, right up to Baker's Corner.
Thank you.
It's well worth the shot, because, if you
Might
can
as
find
well
somebody that
try.
can either donate for you, it's expensive to do a little project like this, and I get it. But there's a good possibility he could, you don't have to have brown or gray or whatever decking, you can have whatever. If he's got 40 boards that you can use at a minimal or zero cost, and he'll, he might even just deliver it right to the site for you too, so. I mean, it's well worth to go and talk to him. He's there 6 days a week on Saturdays. His name is Butch, if you really want to go in.
All right.
Tell him that you're doing a project for the town of North Attleboro,
Thank you.
and if you want to throw my name out there, go right ahead. I know him personally, so.
tell them that Cliff personally offered everything for free.
We do a lot of business with that man, so.
Well, Keep North Attleboro Beautiful also said they
Would
would
make a-
likely,
yeah.
help to donate towards those costs, so.
Right. But I mean, if you can cut your cost down, even if it's a few $100s, it's just a few $100.
Oh, absolutely. I just had a
Other
question
than that, I
about
think it's a good project.
the message board. We usually have like a roof, shingled roof over
Oh,
our
okay.
message boards. I don't know if you saw the one over at our Chorney property.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that one.
I
Would you
should have
let,
sent you an example, but it looks like this. It just has like a roof
yeah,
covering with
yeah.
shingles, just to provide it some, so when people are standing under it, if, just to
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
give them some protection, and it protects the sign a little bit more,
all right.
to provide cover, so if maybe you could incorporate that.
Yeah, I could incorporate that.
Awesome.
And it looks like you plan to work with Shannon to make sure you come back for the actual permitting. So
Yeah.
tonight's actionable item isn't necessarily approval under a formal permit. We're not quite there yet, but I guess commentary on the plan, making sure you're headed the right direction so that as you move forward with Shannon, you
Yep.
can come back with a concrete plan for what you want to do. It looks like you're hoping to do construction over the summer, hopefully wrapping things up August or September.
Yep.
Is that your crew?
Oh, probably.
They'll be there. They're here for another merit badge. They have to go to a town meeting. So
Good.
tonight worked out perfect.
Very nice, very nice.
Good news is that we continued a lot of things, so you didn't have to sit here quite too long, but I think you got at least a glimpse into some of the things that we do. And you'll,
For the continuation, though.
yeah. Well, who knows, when you come back for the permitting for the boardwalk, you might have to sit through some other things, so we'll try to get you on earlier in the meeting,
No,
hopefully.
no,
but
it was fine.
Bring,
It wasn't too far off, though. I think I said
Yeah,
7:15,
7:15,
not
and
too
it was.
bad.
And
Now,
this is
these-
connecting two existing trails, like are already maintained trails?
Yeah, so this map isn't, this is the old map, but when we realized after we did this map is we could no longer use this existing trail because it's too wet. So we asked Ben Cody from the Friends of the 10 Mile to flag a new trail, which Keith mentioned. And that moves this trail over to somewhere in here where the stream is a little bit drier. So there's actually a new trail flag that'll loop into here, and then we'll update this map. But it's been flagged, it needs to be cut in. DPW has a machine that just basically cuts vegetation flush. They can do that, we'll get a permit for that as well, but they did it over at the town forest. So they just need to do that, and then, and the boardwalk will go through here.
How is the crossing of the stream where the yellow?
Yeah, that'll be a later phase. We'll also have to do, this one, we're gonna direct people this way because it's drier. So there's a crossing here, but this one's way too wet. So we're gonna direct people this way, the longer loop.
Yeah.
And then phase 2 will be a crossing on this side.
Great.
I mean, you can get through there if you have, proper shoes on. It's just obviously, a crossing is ideal.
Tell me about it.
Do a little jumping, you'll be fine. So, but yeah, we'll get this map updated once it's cut in, and we'll have a nice new map to present in our new message center.
All right, any other questions or comments from the commission?
I just had a question about the blocks. Are those concrete blocks?
Yeah,
That are
the-
supporting the structure?
Yeah.
So
'cause
those
we-
just get placed on the
They
ground,
get placed, they're not
basically?
going in, we're not digging anything, that way it doesn't disturb the soil.
Okay. That was it, thank you. Great job, Keith.
Thank you.
It looks like a good project. We look forward to seeing the application you bring before us for the wetlands permitting. We'll get you right in with the same legal notices, and you'll get to sit here once again for that, so.
All right.
Thank you very much for coming in. Do you have any
Thank you.
other questions or comments for us? Any outstanding things you're hoping we might address for you tonight?
Not that I remember at the moment.
You're welcome to reach back out to
Aye.
Shannon at any point. If there's something that needs immediate action, she can query myself or individual members. Otherwise, we meet regularly, so if there's anything else, you're always welcome back to come back at your own volition if you'd like. I know you've probably had a blast here tonight, so we do this regularly. You are more than welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can't close my,
I'm excited.
sorry. this is
Excited
not-
that you're gonna improve the Martin Conservation Area.
You guys can keep those if you'd like, and if not, I can just collect them.
Oh, thank you. Would you like it back, or?
No, I have no use for it, so,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'll hold on to mine for when you do come back, and that way we'll have the little extra information. I thank you, though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are welcome to hang around for the rest of the meeting if you'd like. But we
We'll
won't
spare
keep
you. Run.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
fun.
Nice.
Have a good night.
Enjoy your night. Thank you.
That's summertime. No school, no homework.
Minimum age requirement to like appear before a board?
I have no idea.
I don't think so.
Like, could you be 5 and give that, give that presentation?
I think technically.
I don't think a 5-year-old would think of it.
No, but
Yeah.
You want to address the
He's
board? Yeah, I don't see why not.
I've seen videos of like little kids coming in front of boards. I just don't know how real they are.
Yeah.
But I don't think there is any.
I mean, for Eagle projects, I've seen Eagle Scouts come before boards very often, and before they make Eagle, they have to do it before they're 18, so that would certainly present a problem if they had to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving on, so we jumped to the end here.
Yep.
Going back up, we have
Public hearing.
6:30 public hearing, Town of North Attleboro bylaws, Article 16, outstanding property taxes on Christina Estates property for its development. Shannon, I believe that this is kind of in the same line as the first 3 NOIs that were continued, that,
Yes, yeah. So because the treasurer established a payment plan goes through August, then we'll put off our hearing until after that time so we can make a official determination.
okay. In that case, I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for outstanding property taxes on the Christina Estates property for its building corp. In accordance with the Town of North Attleboro bylaws, Article 16, to August 29th, 2023 at 6:30 PM.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstaining? Moving on to commission business, we have a request for certificate of compliance, COC, for 31 Arnold Mills Road. Matthew Schoonewolf, SE number 2430950.
I couldn't help you there.
Schoonewolf.
maybe, Sean Wolf.
I always feel bad when I mispronounce people's names, especially when they're here, but even if they're not here,
It happens. So this was back in 2021, I think we approved this one. Single-family residence and detached garage. They had quite a bit of upland and buffer zone they were willing to leave as no disturb. So originally we had it at the 25, but the owner decided not to put in the garage at this time. The house is in, the lawn's established, and this was a limit of work, so rather than try to figure out the 25, he agreed to restrict everything beyond the silt fence. So he put his permanent marker signs up here. So as you can see, this is the 25, this is the wetland. We have quite a bit of protected buffer, so that's good news. And they had roof recharge. There's a letter from the PE in the file there, Clay, if you wanted to read that. It's actually from a few months ago because he was going to request a partial, but I recommended he just wait to the spring. And now that the grass is established, that was what we were waiting for, so he just has to remove the silt fence, but other than that, it looks good.
If we give him the certificate of compliance, does he have to come back before us if he builds a garage later?
Yes. Yep, and he understood that. So those are your markers, and the fence, the grass looks good, so it's all set.
Is there a need for me to read the letter into the record?
If you just want to, yeah, I mean, I would.
So from Landmark Site Design, dear commission members, on behalf of the applicant, Ryan DeValle of Heritage Realty Costume Homes, we are requesting the certificate of compliance for 31 Arnold Mills Road. Landmark Site Design performed a field as-built on February 12th, 2023, and have prepared a final as-built plan to certify that the site has been completed in significant compliance to the order of conditions that was given to Ryan DeValle of Heritage Realty Costume Homes for the above address per DEP number SE 2430950. The following items have not been completed. 1, the entire site has not been loamed and seeded and will be completed in the spring. Shannon, I believe that's done now,
Yep,
as this letter was from February 15th.
yep.
And 2, the applicant has determined that the proposed garage will not be constructed at this time, and they understand that they will have to refile for the garage if they want to construct the detached garage. If you need any more information, please do not hesitate to contact this office. Very truly yours, Peter Lavoie, project engineer. So it sounds like this one's all set. You're good, Shannon?
All set, yep.
All right, I will entertain a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 31 Arnold Mills Road, SE number 2430950.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? Next, we have a request for certificate of compliance, COC, for 21 East Street, JSIP 21 East, QOZ Property Owner LLC, S number 2430896. And Shannon, should I open the other one
Yes.
for the same? Request for certificate of compliance, COC, 21 East Street, JSIP 21 East, QOZ Property Owner LLC, SE number 2430906.
So this is that 21 East Street project that I think I'd emailed you guys about. I would recommend a site visit just so we can all take a final look at that one. It was a very large, controversial project, so I think it's a good idea to get your eyes on it. I did request some additional documentation anyway that I'm still waiting for, so I did let the applicant know we need to push it out another meeting, so they're fine with that. But, you know, in the back, they have the large flood storage areas, that the riverfront restoration, there's a riverfront path. You know, it still floods, you know, in any storm, it still floods significantly back there. But the plantings did take, there were a couple trees I asked them to replace, a couple birches that weren't looking so hot, so they're gonna replace those. And then we'll put them on the next meeting, but if anybody wants to go out there, maybe we can do that one day in the next couple weeks.
Is the flooding basically unchanged from pre-construction?
Yeah, there's no difference. I mean, it wasn't meant to be better. You know, it can't be until that river is dredged and if
It'll
that
never
even helps.
change
Yeah.
until they dredge the river.
Yeah. So it was never meant to improve it. But it's a flood zone, so.
I think 21 East Street is so much better than what was there before.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
So maybe Shannon, you can send out an email with a couple dates and times and just query which date and time has the most availability, and hopefully some of
Yep.
us can get out there and take a look.
Will do.
With that, I will entertain a motion to continue discussion on request for certificate of compliance, 21 East Street, SU number 2430896 to July 11th, 2023. Do I need to include the time on that? At 6:30 PM?
No, no.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstaining? And I will entertain a motion to continue the discussion on request for certificate of compliance for 21 East Street, SU number 2430906 to July 11th, 2023.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstaining? That concludes the commission business. Going back to other business, we do have 2 sets of minutes, I believe, that we didn't have the quorum for at the last meeting. So if we want to just take a minute, we have the minutes for April 25th, 2023. The members present were myself, Lindsay, Cliff Bassett, Deb Cato, Jill Miller. So it looks like we have enough people. I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes of April 25th, 2023.
So, second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? And Jessica, I'm guessing you're abstaining? And then we have the minutes for May 23rd, 2023. Members present were myself, Lindsay, Steve, Jill, and Jessica. So it looks like we have a required 4. With that, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes for May 23rd, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All those abstaining?
Abstaining.
Cliff and Deb. So we got those off the table, and I believe I still owe Sandy a recording from the last, I forgot to upload my audio recording from the last meeting.
Oh, that's okay. I filled in, it was just the first 20 minutes, and I had taken a lot of notes, so.
Perfect. I will eventually get that up to Dropbox in case you guys need it for wherever or anything like that, but
Okay.
I won't race home to do it immediately
No,
after this then.
don't worry.
And then lastly, do you have any commission updates for us?
Just we had the invitation for bid was out for Falls Pond Dam for that work that we got in the grant for, as well as the CIP money. We had the bid opening last week, and the bids did come in a lot higher than we thought. We only had 4, but the lowest bid was substantially higher than we had anticipated. So the engineer that did the quote, or the original construction estimate, he's gonna go review it and look at the discrepancies and let us know his professional opinion on, you know, whether anything is off or not. And then it will go to the town manager. Assuming the bid is good and they meet all other requirements, it would go to the town manager for vote to accept it. I just wanted to update you guys. But if it does hold, we still, you know, we have the grant that we were hoping to just use all of the grant money. But if it is this higher price, we do have that CIP money to fall back on. So we should be okay. But, you know, we were hoping not to use that, but if we have to, we can. So that's 90 grand is sitting there as kind of a backup. So, just so you know.
Great.
But the Japanese knotweed treatment that we did is actually, the engineer was surprised it was pretty effective so far. So, he was pleasantly surprised by that. I mean, it's still growing back, but certainly nothing like it was. We had done the treatment and the capping, and so it looks a lot better. So that's working so far. We'll see,
Fantastic.
but, yeah, I know, it's hard, as you know, treat that stuff, but. But that's it. So yeah, so 2 Tuesdays from now is the holiday Tuesday, so that's why we're on the 11th. So we'll see you in 3 weeks.
All
All
right.
right?
With that, if there's nothing else from the commission members, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstaining? We stand adjourned here at 7:46.